I'm that girl who wants to talk to you about what has been sabotaged in the New World spiritual community. Should I add in truther community in there at the same time? And so if you're new to this content and the information that I'm sharing through either this channel, I'm That Girl, or the other channel, which is the Quantum Sessions, which is mostly the Quantum Sessions. So let's just do a quick little recap on what the heck those Quantum Sessions are. So that is where the client has been put into a deep, relaxed state. So their brain waves are at a very, very relaxed state. So Mr. Ego, their little busy conscious mind, can get the F out of my clients' perceptions with much love and appreciation for all that they do, because they surrender into the sessions, right? So therefore, they get after some time, and you don't get to hear all of the sessions, because often it's actually regressions from other lifetimes as well, stuff that's really sticking to them now, to be able to help them understand why they're having to have lessons and experiences to journey and grow from in this lifetime now. So, there's that. So anyway, most of the sessions you hear is about when the subconscious gets called into the sessions, and that's when the clients channel their higher dimensional selves. And so that we're all one. We've established that many times. And so when you've broken away from source, and then your higher self is having their little fantastic lives, and then they're wanting to become more experienced and more curious and more independent and having different other dimensional experiences, then they just keep breaking away, breaking down. But really to be able to have a complete experience of all. And so all of the information gets collated and explored and expanded upon. And because consciousness for all is still connected, we're all connected, we're all consciously connected, regardless of whether you are aware of it or not. And so there's that. And so anyway, these sessions are fantastic because the client will have, say, potentially a struggling situation that's plagued them for 40 years. And then in this simple experience and the very relaxing experience of these quantum sessions, the client's subconscious will come in and be like, oh, that thing, oh, it's so easy to explain, blah, 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 boom, lessons learned, information shared, and therefore the thing that plagued that client, whether it's physical or emotional, can be suddenly released, profoundly released, because the lesson was given, the understanding of it, the journey, it no longer serves you. Farewell. So that's fantastic, unless you still have to process the experience. And so they're not going to just take away, say, for example, profound disabilities, if that is your purpose, life contract, to have profound disabilities for you to be of service and have your life lessons that way, or others have life lessons from you that way. So there's that. So the quantum sessions are very interesting because the clients have a very, various range of 3D mindsets and perceptions and agendas and interests. And that's fantastic. And you get to know your clients really well after, speaking to them and hearing what their questions are. Usually it's quite an interesting statement of where they're at with their questions that they want the clients, the practitioners, to ask their subconsciouses. So moving forward, sometimes you will find that certain people only want to hear the big advanced information. They're not willing to actually do any of their inner work. And it's a real big telltale, because when you do the regression, the subconscious will be like, look at all this stuff. Look at all these problems that you're still playing with and working with. And a good practitioner will be able to get the information that the subconscious is showing the client and make it relevant to this lifetime, and be able to make the links. Why did you show that they were apple pickers in that lifetime who had an abundance of love and wealth, for example? Whatever. These sessions are really fantastic. So anyway, the whole purpose of this conversation, this quick conversation that they want me to have with you today, is this. So big things are coming, and there has been some exciting new developments on what's going to be happening to this planet to be able to help awaken it, to be able to evolve. And sometimes we just don't have trust or faith in certain things, so we don't have hope, right? So there's that. It's kind of consistent with humanity, right? We have to be seeing tangible things for us to be able to sort of think about trusting eventually, but on our sweet time, right? We're not going to be pushed into anything unless we blindly give our faith and our trust to professionals. And what do those professionals look like in the truth or a spiritual metaphysical world, right? These people that have been in the industry for a long time, have big platforms and huge followers, allegedly, right? From the numbers we trust, from their whatever. So there's that. And so it's very interesting, as we know, just like with mainstream media, there is a lot of censorship, and the truth is almost quite hard to find because it's been removed from the consciousness, or trying to be blocked and removed from the consciousness of humanity. Because as we all are witnessing certain things, we're all adding to the consciousness of our collectives, right? It's almost impossible for us not to share the information. Fun fact, our subconsciouses can read our minds very well. And so we can't hide anything. And this is a really big thing I want you all to remember, is that while you may look like on paper and on social media that you're great humanitarians that are so charitable and kind and caring, the subconscious sees all that, doesn't really care about your social profiles, but sees and checks out your hidden agendas, all your thoughts and processes, and how you're playing with their information that they're giving you in these sessions. People have been drawn to listen to these sessions. They're testing you with much love to see what you actually do with the information. And the information that I got today from a session, and has been sort of consistent with other different clients, because I love to be able to push and challenge these questions and sessions by asking many different clients the same questions, to be able to hear what the different collectives have to say about the information, and what the same collective has to say. But it's really great as a practitioner to hear consistent information from different clients, and it is fantastic times, very exciting. So there's that. I feel like I'm in a big rush today, so I'm trying to get to the point without giving too much information away, because it's not quite time yet. So there's that. And so the information that they want me to share with you today, which all sounds like a big jumble, is who are you still following as influencers? And have you been surprised or even maybe suspicious of why are they still allowed to share their information and their intel? Why? Question everything. Actually, not just question everything, question the shit out of everything. Okay, it is not a time to just blindly trust even those people that we love and respect, who are big in the influencer communities, because, you know, chances are, if they're still allowed to share their information, even if it's classified as, oh, this is so secret, oh, this is going to kill people, oh, this, you know, the games that they play to make it sound like it's super exclusive and that only special people can listen to it. Selling it, they're selling it hard. They're often trying to get fundraisers and a whole lot of other stuff, or also not. It's very interesting what's going on, and this week is going to be very interesting as more disclosures from certain influencers are being poured out for you to accidentally stumble across. Blessed them. And so they know how to play the game. They know how to make you feel like this is certain information that you shouldn't be getting. And, you know, how did we start off this conversation saying what has been infiltrated? Unfortunately, lots of people who we should be trusting and feel like they have got certain highest perspectives of intel should be able to share really great information with us, right? And eventually, at one point or another, they actually did give us true information. But along the way on their journey, they've either tripped up on their egos or they've now been compromised. And so while we know that all is well, and while we know what needs to happen, wouldn't this be just another fantastic experience for you to have, to be able to hear from a famous or beloved influencer and then still use your intuition and discernment to know what the truth is, rather than just fully trusting, well, they're the experts, they're the people who have been doing this for 30 years. They keep telling me their resumes, they keep telling me what they and who they are connected in with, blah, 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 blah. But when they're still talking through their pie holes, that's still ego, isn't it? It's still conscious mind. And while there can be big egos and small egos, you're still listening to a conscious mind person. right? So just like, how I am right now, it's a conscious mind conversation we're having. And you know the difference between a conscious mind conversation versus a high dimensional being coming in as the subconscious, as we call them all, and to be able to have conversations. So, we want to always find the bigger perspective and what's going on and why. And it's fascinating times. So quick questions. Is it still a struggle for you to accept that you actually deserve love? Have you stepped into loving yourself, and do you know what love feels like? Because sometimes when we get given love, it's so overwhelming, it makes us go into tears. Just like when we think about our departed ones now, and the ones that we think are dead, when we feel into them, they give us so much love back that it makes us cry. Okay, so then we feel uncomfortable about crying because we don't like it, because apparently there's something wrong with us when our eyeballs start leaking. And so, we dismiss it straight away. We don't want to feel their love that they're sending to us, because they are also telepathic. Your departed also listening into you with your thoughts and feelings as they choose. It's not part of their free, they're not breaching your free will, because we're all one. So it's almost like saying, I'm not privy to all the times my mind wants to have the naughty treats in my cupboard. I'm always hearing about my thoughts about having the naughty treats in the cupboard to eat. And so, you can't block yourself from yourself, really, can you? It's kind of like, I'm going to leave the house today, but I'm not going to take my left leg because it's lazy. And it's got a limp. There is so much that they're wanting me to say to you, and they're really wanting you to know what true, profound love is. And they're wanting you to get used to their love for you. And while they are within you, and while there is truly no separation from you and your high dimensional counterparts, we have tried to sever our connections because we're so focused on the 3D and so focused on the density that we can't truly step into having faith and trust that all is well. So we are being distracted in the density of the dramas of the 3D to sort of see how we feel. And that is fine. That's a choice. They don't blame us, but they're really wanting to get our attention, and they're really wanting to get our attention soon. So will you trust them when they present themselves to you? Will you trust them? Will you be able to know that it is them? And how will you know that it is them? Or will you freak out or something else, dismiss it? Very interesting times, my friends, very interesting. And so when you know that certain influences and certain movements have been compromised, you start being fed a false narrative, right? We've heard it before about, don't go to the light, don't go to the white light. When you shift out of your body, do not go to the white light. That's a trap for reincarnation. We've heard that many times in sessions, and that's utter bullshit, right? But look at that. When you trust someone who says don't go to the light, then you sort of panic and think, oh gosh, when I've died, I will not go to the light. And therefore you've created a whole lot of lost ghosts, shall we say, who are too terrified to go to the light, because they still remember and influence it that they heard when they were alive, and so they don't quite know how to shift, and so they're still in fear. Can you imagine that? Ghosts who are in fear. So anyway, those have been sort of cleared up, but what are we listening to, and what have we believed is going to be the case moving forward, right? So we've been told many times in sessions that those people who have heard about this shift, gets a bit scary, and they sort of are confused about it until they hear all the perspectives of what we, explore in sessions. So people want to have instant answers in one conversation. Okay, so yeah, it's almost impossible, but it is also possible to understand that, planets do have reincarnation cycles, and those who can resonate with the same frequency of vibration will shift with. So, no one who can vibrate at the same resonation as the planet will be left behind, unless it's a choice. Unless they choose to do it. And we've all got choices. We constantly get choices, but are we still listening to influences to make our choices for us? It's a big one. Listen to that again. Are we still making influences have choices for us? Because often when we just throw away and trust everything that they're saying, we might be building up more foundations of disinformation. And as we have heard, there is many influencers who have got disinformation and believe it's the truth. And this is why we like listening to pure sessions, because we can hear it in ourselves. We can hear the true high frequency. We can hear the integrity. We can hear that perspective. We know it is not 3D egos or mindsets speaking to us. You can tell the massive difference. And everyone who's been listening to those conversations, everyone who's been listening to those quantum sessions know the difference between human ego versus a higher dimensional ego. So that, it's very obvious, and this is what you have all been privy to hearing the difference of. And then when you have your own sessions, because you're all finding your free interns, right? Because they're free and they're everywhere and willing for you to be able to have your own quantum sessions yourself. You will know when it's your conscious mind versus your subconscious. And when you have your own experience of what's your conscious mind, which is usually the first hour of the session, versus the second hour of the session, which is the subconscious after it's been invited in. It's very important when you listen to sessions and beings suddenly pop into these sessions who have not been invited in. Very interesting. Anyway, there's that. That's a side. That's a tangent. So it's very interesting what's happening, and you all have the most capable intuition and empowerment to know what's what. And when we have almost been prompted to be afraid of false flags, interesting. Isn't it interesting? So we're all prepared to be told it's sold something else, but yet they're not really. If you're going to just blindly trust and have faith on someone who just speaks through their ego, that's a choice. But you would want them to be able to talk about everything and not just a few things, because you want to be able to know that they fully have the higher perspective and the higher intel and the best wisdom and information for all, right? So, you've really got to really do your research to know who you can trust. And even Dolores Cannon would say, don't trust her or don't believe her, have your own sessions. Do your own research is actually what she would say, which is in brackets. Interns are freaking free. Find them at your leisure. Quick speed. So there's that. So anyway, just another thing. Sorry, they keep prompting me to say this and I got distracted. Laser. People who still freak out about the laser. Okay, well, you know why people need to shift. Okay, we know why people have to shift. It's not the end of their lives, and there is no real end of lives. Where our consciousness is internal, external. No, actually, our consciousness is external, while we think it's all within because we perceive it in our brain or in our bodies and stuff. Our consciousnesses are actually, not just contained in the bodies. So there's that as well, because we are constantly connecting into our other counterparts. So yeah, it's fascinating. I love this conversation. But what they're trying to remind me again, is that those people who are still afraid of the laser, that's not serving you. You do not get given this information about the laser to hold on to it and be afraid. You are given this information about the laser to be able to understand the certain things that need to happen to occur to be able to help people shift and to be able to give people lessons and experiences for growth. And while it seems also terrible and tragic, please remember that this is man on man attack. They were very clear with that, weren't they? Right from the get-go, it's man-made technology attacking man. Please remember that, because that is still consistent information from sessions. And I say that with much sincerity and love. And while it's incredibly disgusting and revolting to know that man still hates man so much that they want to do that. It's all purposeful, it's lessons, it's experiences, it's opportunity for growth. When we are in our mature metaphysical spirituality journey, we understand we've had many other lifetimes, and this is just one of them. And it's not the last one, that's for sure. There is still much more things to grow from and experience from and enjoy. And what they want to remind those people who are afraid of the laser and terrified actually of the laser event, what happens next? Please do not get stuck on the event of the one day of the laser event, because those people are getting, you're buying into future fears and worries. So let's not do that. Let's have better choices to empower ourselves and others. And let's, if you must be able to, if you can't get out of the scare and terror of the laser event, move forward to what you want to be doing on the new Earth, or your home planets, or your 3D planets, or returning back to source. What are you going to be doing? Because it seems like most people are very grateful and pleased to be able to have shifted. When they see the full extension of the density that this planet is marinating us all in potentially, if we choose to allow that to occur to us. So it's big conversations, but please don't go into fear, and also just check what you are assuming is true from real influencers who know stuff. Often I'm noticing, I was driven to see a few influencers just recently over the weekend who were giving information from old intel that they were getting. And while it was very interesting, most of it was not metaphysically correct. So one account, I will say, without naming names, because everyone's, got everyone's stepping stones, right? Because everyone is to help assist you empower yourself to the fullest. So everyone else that's not you is a stepping stone for you to find you, for you to go back into your higher frequency of love and return eventually to source and to, have your higher evolutional experiences. So jazz hands for that. Shoot, I got distracted. I think someone's trying to get into my room. I'm pretty sure he's clothed today. He's living his best 3-year-old life. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to leave you with this. Oh, no, they do want me to say it. Okay, sorry. Got it. They wanted to say that there was a statement referring to the Arcturians, the archangels, as each Arcturian, each archangel was not actually a being, never was a being, that they're merely just big generational ships. Not true. Okay, so we've asked about that in the session. I had a session this morning and asked a few things just for clarification. And I already knew in sessions that it's not true, but I'd like to double, triple check things from different subconsciouses. So there is that. And so that is the challenge with some people who get, who are contacts. They are still trying to translate it with their 3D perceptions. And so when they don't have any real basis of metaphysics in terms of true spirituality, they're still working from a very interesting perspective point. It's valid. They're trying to do the best that they can. But when they make big statements like Arcturians and angels aren't actually individual beings, there's a problem there, isn't it? It's not actually factual. So archangels are definitely beings, the soul essences of a fraction of a higher self, which is a fraction of source. So, there's that. It's very interesting. And then something else. It is best for you to use your discernment when any new information comes out in mainstream media or in mainstream truthers or disclosure projects or something. Listen to it. Don't be afraid of listening to new information. but you should have so much empowerment and trust and knowledge in self of your own intuition that you are very capable of listening to everyone's information, but you know where your own integrity and moral compass is and what feels right and what feels a little bit off. And so I know when we are all learning things, we all sort of assume that we don't know anything. And so we're going to blindly trust the big influencers who keep telling you that they've been doing this for 30 years and they've got high intel and blah, 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 blah. Cool, that's great. But their high intel is often just more humans. And, you don't hear those conversations, do you? And you don't hear when they are having other experiences. So what I do like and I'm proud of is all the quantum sessions that you can hear, because it is valid information from high dimensional beings. While you do not see a high dimensional being popping into a client to suddenly speak, you can feel the frequency shift in the channeler's information, right? And you've also seen me when I've put, when I surrendered my subconscious and shift my subconscious away and my conscious mind away, and then my subconscious comes through and channels. You know that there is a difference. You know that there is a whole lot of different things going on there. And I've been doing this work for so long for you to have heard that you can hear it all yourself. So, you know the difference between my conscious mind and this chatter versus the subconscious and their information. And a lot of you listening are Arcturians, so you know the frequency that resonates within my subconscious and all the other sort of stuff. So, always best to have your own sessions, interns are free, to be able to clarify anything that's going on. But remember, when something big is disclosed, you may not have a time to be able to go to find an intern or get a second session or a triple session or something. And so how do you say, for example, I can't do any more sessions? How do you then find out where you should feel into the information that's been disclosed? Do you try to listen to other influences, or do you just take a moment to align yourself with your breath and relax any worries, any tensions in the bodies, any tensions in the mind? Notice the slow breath, because you're not hyperventilating. You are just allowing your body to ground. You are just very comfortable in either armchair or the bed that you're in, and you're just surrendering yourself into the natural flow of the breath as you just simply ask with the intention, what is the information you'd like me to know? And you're asking your subconscious. You can say it out loud or telepathically, because they're always on speed dial listening to you, right? Without being perverts. No bathroom. They're not interested in bathroom or sexual activities. So there's that. So yeah, don't feel too pride upon. And this is why they say you're never alone. Because they don't go anywhere. You can't cut off your arms or legs, because they're not really physically attached to you. They're etherically attached to you, or whatever other like labels and understandings and terminologies you want. They are always around you, guiding you and making sure that you are safe from sometimes your own choices and others. So there's that. Okay, so any information that was helpful today? Any bigger perspective? They've told us and reminded us how many times to be able to, they've talked to us many times about how to go within, right? Best to go within. Best start giving yourselves the time and the respect to be able to go within, be grateful for your connections to your teams and honor them for keeping you alive this long and, living your best 3D lives. So, there's that. Start off with being grateful or not. I don't think they are going to hold it against you if you've never been grateful for them before. They probably will think, oh, they're suddenly being grateful. They'll start being suspicious. But, they're also prompting you. So when you're listening to these this messages and this information, it's often them trying to get to you to say, it is time. Start meditating, start honoring us and our senses, because they're really, really needing you to trust them And you have to start trusting yourself. And so again, it goes back to, do you still feel that you deserve love, or are you still blocking it? Are you just mildly tolerating yourself versus wildly loving yourself and fully embracing the goddess within, or the god within, or whatever you need to feel like a special unicorn with? We're all here for a very significant purpose and time. Now, I know there's no such thing as time, it's man-made, blah, 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 but we're here now for a reason and a purpose, and it is significant, beyond significant. So what are you going to do with it? Of course, you're going to appreciate every day. Of course, you're going to honor the body as much as you can. And of course, you'll want to spend some time to try and go within and just feel the senses of the information that they want you to hear and feel. So you may not hear them through your ears, and you may not see them with your eyes, or you may, depending on how desperate they are to get your attention. But it is always best to sort of do it without any other sort of influences. In terms of music can be distracting. They really want you to be able to just at the switch of a hat, be able to go within wherever you are. They don't want you to get into this habit of, well, I need to have it on a Wednesday at 3 p.m. When I've got my patchouli oil going on and my 1,700,000 crystals in an alignment of perfect harmony and balance, and all, charged up with the moon. Like, they don't need you or want you to have those crutches. That is not what they're needing. They're needing you to focus and just allow yourself to feel within and what messages they are. Remembering that it takes time and practice. And if you haven't started having some you time, they really would love you to be able to just enjoy the way of the breath, because that super relaxes you and de-stresses you straight away as soon as you start noticing the relaxing movement of natural breath without it being labored or anything else. So notice that is a really good stepping forward. And then be able to feel into, what is the feelings I would like you to know today? And they will give you love, but most people are like, oh, that's boring, no, I don't want that. What day is the shift? Tell me tell me the shift date. I want to know, am I going to the new earth, and who's going with me? Like, that's the sort of stuff that they're not going to just start giving you information about, because if you've blocked initially their very first impulse to you, which is loving you, they're going to be like, no, we're not going to do anything until you love yourself. And then your 3D mind is like, oh, that's pathetic, who needs love? No one needs love. That's in the movies. And they are wanting you to really know what love feels like. Okay, best that you can, the best joy, the best excitement that you can hold in your frequency. So, it's a hobby. It's a really good one, but there is a real big significance of why they want you to start learning how to love yourself. Because the more you love yourself, the more you can respect yourself and have high frequency vibrations, and the more that they can then have access to you. So if you're just in doubt and lack of love, you're not in high vibe. It really is that simple. And they're wanting you to be as high vibe as possible for them to have a stronger connection with you. But if you are instantly shutting down their love for you, you're making those, you're blocking them, you're limiting them, you're doing all that stuff that it doesn't really serve you. So there's that. Okay, they would love for you to just practice that. They say it's not very long. They say time is man-made. We know that. And so but they're desperate. They would beg. They said, we would love it for 20 minutes, but they know that lots of people are too lazy. So, start just noticing the breath, and notice how the body will respond when your body is noticing your breath, the rest of your body can relax into it, because you're not stressed. And the thing that seems to be a real, we're all in tune with the heartbeat, because that's what we were sort of, started to be introduced to in sound in the mother's womb. But then the breath is quite important too. So slow breath and natural breath. Don't try to force anything. Allow your breath to be your breath and just take notice of it. I know it sounds really easy and silly, but it's really profound, because when you just focus on the breath, your whole body just relaxes into it in that flow. and then you're more open. So I know lots of people are active relaxers, and so they need to do things like run to be able to connect in, and that's cool. Whatever works for you. So share if you want whatever works for you, because some people may not have ever thought or even valued, hanging out the washing, that's when I'm in my most joy or my most open to getting downloads and messages. It can happen anytime. This is why they want you to get out of your little churches that you've surrounded yourselves with. Sorry, not churches, but your little sanctuaries that you've put, you've lined up with all of your chakra systems or blah 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 blah, all those little trinkets and all those little tool sets and all those little things that you assume is what you need around you to be able to go within and start meditating. They're sort of saying, what if all of that's gone? What if you're at the supermarket one day and suddenly something big happens and you need to be able to feel into your intuition? So interesting. And anyway, super interesting. Again, I feel like there is many beings that are wanting to talk to you, who are trying to get so much information to you that they are making me wonder often, is this just a big ramble? And then I actually have to listen back to these sessions myself to be able to actually hear what has been said, because I feel like they're all in this big queue wanting to get certain information out to certain people who have been asking certain things. And so they're like, you are ignoring them and all of the senses and the information they're trying to give you individually. And so you're finding these videos or other videos like this to be able to hear your messages, your answers to your messages, your questions. So fascinating times, friends, fascinating times. Love yourself more than anything you've ever been able to do before. It's super important, super important. Connect in anytime you can. And use your time super wisely. You want to get these connections strong. You want to get these connections really practiced a lot. And the more inner work you do, the more you empower yourself, which then accidentally empowers others, which is all purposeful, of course. Everything's purposeful, my friends. Okay, have a fantastic day. Love yourselves beyond words.